Hello and welcome to another Smaulgld live stream. It is Sunday, February 3rd, 2019, and for those that care, it is Super Bowl Sunday. And tonight's topic, why aren't you watching the Super Bowl? I was going to do a follow-up to last night's well-received video on the Golden Cross and the Silver Democrats and their push to get silver remonetized after the crime of 1873. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, you can go back after tonight's video and take a look at last night's video on Smaulgld.com or on the YouTube channel or on BitChute. And there we gave an entire outline of what had happened, the history of silver in the United States as a monetary metal. And I was going to do tonight the Silver Cross and go up to when Kennedy and Johnson demonetized silver, finally taking it out of the coins. But we'll save that for tomorrow night because tonight is Super Bowl Sunday. And I thought maybe some of you may be interested in watching some people chasing the football around. And I took a poll and it led me to think maybe the Smaulgld mug stacker game changers aren't as interested in football. So rather than do a full show tonight with charts and arrows and things like that, I thought maybe I'd get your point of view on the Super Bowl. Let me show you the poll that I put out just before the show. Will you be watching the Super Bowl tonight? Well, it looks like only 1 in 4 of you out of the 50 Smaulgld game changers were planning on watching it. Some of you probably are watching it. Someone said they're multitasking. They're watching the football game and listening to this live stream. Half the people said no, and 25% of the people didn't even know what was going on. So, thought I'd come online today and see how people are doing while the game is on. And here's some comments I got already. Fed Killer. I served 7 years in the military. I will not participate in a National Take a Knee Day. Okay. Joe Lazaro. I don't watch blood sports. Pablo Pena. To be honest, I'd rather watch a Smaulgld live stream. Well, here we are. Trump 1776. Until the NFL decides to respect our flags and our troops, I will not participate in their nonsense. Max Strong. I haven't watched the National Felon League in 3 years. Cuckball, he says. So there are some people that are decidedly not only not interested, but against the NFL. And who can blame them? Now, as to me, well, first of all, tomorrow we're going to do the Silver Cross. We're going to finish up with the Silver Democrats. And also tomorrow before that, I'll do earlier in the day. You'll have to look for the reminder or the alert or whatever it is. Click the bell. I'll do a gold and silver update, news update separately. And then we can cover just the Silver Cross, the JFK, LBJ. We're going to start from 1934. We're going to start with the silver confiscation, the coin shortage, all the way up to the end of the silver certificates and the end of silver coinage or junk silver, 90% silver, constitutional silver in U.S. coins. And we'll also do a quick crypto update. Let us do the gold right now and silver. Gold is flat from Friday. It just opened up a couple hours ago. It's at $1,316. Silver hasn't moved an inch, $15.87. Over on the cryptos, lack of volatility the last month or so now. Bitcoin at 34.24. That's down less than 1%. Bcash at 117, down 1.34%. Ethereum $106, down 2.34%. Litecoin at 33.20, down 2.53%. Litecoin is very close again to passing Bitcoin Cash for the number 5 spot after Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, and EOS. And then it goes Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin. And then Ethereum Classic is at 386, down 1.79. So that's where we are. Tomorrow we'll do a more full update. I've got some stories. Interesting gold and silver stories, interesting crypto stories. We won't cover those tonight. We'll cover them tomorrow, probably around 5 or 6 o'clock. take a quick break, come back around the normal time, 7:30, and do the Silver Cross and catch up there. All right, let's see what you guys are saying about this Super Bowl. Zipper Fitzer says, you're getting better at clickbaiting. I aim to please. Don't forget to hit the like button. MN New. I am watching the Super Bowl, but I also multitask. All right. Very impressed. Chrono Trigger fans, sports, comma, like the American justice system, comma, is a rigged affair. Selective enforcement determines the winners and losers. I would add to that money also plays a big role. If you have a team and you have the bigger payroll, most likely you're going to get the better players and you're going to win. The one thing I never liked about professional sports, actually about all sports, is the idea that the team doesn't come from the area. So when you're watching the Yankees, you got players from California all over the country. They're not really New Yorkers. Same with Boston. But then that would probably make it very difficult because the biggest metropolitan areas might have a better chance of putting together a better team because they have more people. But that's not necessarily so, because the California players, the Florida players, they've got a much better shot at being good because they can play more during the year. That's why the Dominicans send so many players to the United States in the Major League Baseball, and they excel because they play 24/7. They play 365 days a year, and they have a baseball culture. You don't really have that in New York City, so you can get more players out of a smaller population in the Dominican Republic in the major leagues than you can from a large city. But having said that, that's not the main reason I'm not watching the football game tonight. I was never that big of a fan of the football anyway. When I moved, I spent some time in London. It just wasn't worth my time even trying to figure out when I was going to watch a game in the middle of the night. Wasn't going to tape it. Lost total interest in it. So I've been not against, but I have been not following football for years. All right, what else do we got here? TRP, because the NFL sucks. All right. Don't hold back there. And Taylor Collins, NFL is trash. All right. Jack AG, football is boring like most other sports unless you're playing with friends. Yeah, playing is fun. That's definitely true. Although you can watch a good game. I'm not against watching a good game, but football, baseball, basketball, it's always nice to watch a good game, but unless you're following all year, like you have a team and it makes the Super Bowl, I don't even know who's in it. I know I just saw something. The Rams are in it. The other thing is people also watch the football game for the ads, which to me makes no sense. I mean, when I was a kid, when an ad came on during a game, you changed the channel, you left the room, you went to get something to eat. The last thing you want to do is watch an ad. But these ads these days are the last thing I want to see. I want to see a Gillette ad or something like that. Tossing Molotov, show NFL sucks. Okay. Taylor Collins. But it's like a dumpster fire. You can't help but watch sometimes. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I wasn't even tempted. In fact, I don't even think I can watch the football game. I think I canceled my Comcast package so that whatever channel that was on, I wouldn't even be able to watch it. TRP Jack has a good point. All right, let's see what Taylor says. That's me right now watching a small, slimy dumpster fire flickering. Andrew, football sucks. I only watch hockey in the playoffs. Okay. Keisha Rhinestone, back again. Good to see you. I'm not watching the Super Bowl because 55% of the NFL football players are domestic abusers. I don't know if that's true, but I know that they've had, that's why someone called it the National Felon League. And the other thing I have a problem with is when you're a kid, you know, you're 8, 10, 12 years old, and you look up to a football player, okay. But once you're over 30 years old, I don't know how you look up to some of these guys. They're just, they're going to play football 4 or 5 years. They're going to act foolish, some of them, during that time, or worse, like you say, abusive. And then they're going to be gone. I'm not seeing why I would spend a lot of time watching them running around on the field. But again, if you like football, it's some people say it's not even as good as the college game. So I've lost all interest in football. I still watch a bit of baseball, but even there, I don't follow it with the same zeal I used to. Jack AG, the concept of 7 games in hockey is a moneymaker. Yeah, I can't get over the fact you may or may not be watching the Stanley Cup. Nicholas Schulten is here. His answer is no. Okay. Andrew at Keisha Rhinestone. Wonder if that has anything to do with CT. I don't know what that is. JR Innovations is here. Game changer. Tell us how Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. Haven't heard that in a while. Okay. Hubzilla is here, but he left a message and he's gone. And then Jack responded to it next year, but I don't know what he wrote in the first place, but he's retracted. Haven't seen Hubzilla. We did a very nice interview with him, almost 2 years ago now. If you can find it in the Smaulgld subscriber sound off. I think the most recent Smaulgld subscriber sound off I did was with James Henry Anderson over at Silver Doctors, and we talked about, it was only a couple of days ago, we talked about the most sold products over at SD Bullion. He's supposedly putting together a video on that. Maybe he'll release it tomorrow. We can go through it. There's also a poll in the community section, and if I remember correctly, you guys said if you buy silver, physical silver, what you buy, 30% most is silver eagles, and then 30% was just silver rounds and bars, and then after that it fell off. It was like 15% other mints like Perth, Austrian, Mexican, Chinese, and then it was like 10-11% junk silver. But the big ones were American Silver Eagles. We'll see how that poll compares to what the Silver Doctor site has, or SD Bullion. But the other interesting thing about the SD Bullion survey or sales report, apparently they sell as much in dollar amount of silver as they do of gold, and that takes a lot of product because, you know, the unsustainable gold silver ratio is 85 to 1. So they have to pack up 85 times more product over at Silver Doctors. JR Innovations President Occasional Cortez will confiscate gold and silver in 2024. Don't laugh. I mean, she hasn't figured that one out yet. That's Dizzy Miss Lizzie. She's up on the confiscating assets. Not confiscating it, but taxing, which is in a sense almost confiscation if you have to pay to own something. And you already do that with your home. Property taxes, but presumably you get something at least directly from your local services like fire, police, and school if your kids go there. If not, you pay for it anyway. But a library, but just throwing more money into the federal coffers, that is a bit of confiscation. But Ocasio-Cortez wants to, I think, have a 70-80% tax on income. I think Miss Warren would have no trouble if you have $50 million worth of gold or silver. I think she'd want to tax that, and that is for sure. All right, what else do we got here? Lots of comments here. Let's hope we stick to the football, but it looks like we're drifting. We got plenty of comments. All right. Jack, I heard some terrible news about silver today. If prices rise, companies push that price onto consumers, then consumers buy less, hurting the overhead of the higher-ups who own everything. Not sure about that. I mean, the amount of silver that is used in industry is not that much. It's not a big portion of the price of the product, the electronic, the solar panel. You'd really have to get over $50, $60, $80 before they even started to even think about feeling it. So that's the good news about silver. The price, the demand would be inelastic. They would just buy it. They wouldn't even think about it. They would not even notice it in their margins, which is good. Taylor Kahlo, AOC in the White House. Do you really believe that to be the future? No, because even if the millennials all vote as a block, there are people other than millennials. So I don't think that to be the case. Keisha says AOC ain't going to be old enough to run for president either in 2020 or 2024. I mean, by then, either she will have sharpened her game and become, we think by 2024, She might have some senior status. If she's still around, she may get voted out next time she goes in and we never hear from her again. But assuming she's still around, either she will be fringe or she'll be mainstream. It's hard to tell what it'll become. It's almost like, get back to football, baseball, other sports. Some rookies come on with great promise, and then they fade away. Others become Hall of Famers. So we don't know what's going to happen to her. Andrew, she might make a good puppet one day. Yeah, because and the question is whether she is already. The question is whether she is an organic candidate who got into politics, speaks her mind, says whatever comes into her mind, and that's who she is. Or whether she's being groomed to put out a specific message. My guess right now is I think she was a fluke. I think they are giving her her fame, probably giving her too much of it. But I don't think she's playing ball with... He's not playing ball with the Democratic Party. And she seems to be, in some respects, not getting in line. So they may try to co-opt her, or she may already be co-opted. I don't really know. Three chambers of government, yep. Liz Warren said something like that too, I believe. All right, Zero Innovation. Too many illegals and dead people voting. Yeah, and it's funny. People insist that that doesn't happen. It's very easy. You can just imagine how easy it would be to vote. The people that man or woman the polls, they don't check. If they check ID, it's not even like going through customs or getting on an airplane. It's pretty easy to vote. And yes, if you get caught, it's a federal crime, but I can easily see how people can go from one poll to the other, do same-day registration. And then if they find out afterwards, the vote had already been counted. By the time they figure out that you voted illegally, then they're not going to recall the election. It'll be 6 months, 8 months. I saw cases where you see them every now and then. They find a couple who voted in 3 different places. It's like, okay, how many didn't they find? And they're talking about it 8 months, a year after the election. So clearly there's got to be voter fraud. They want to insist there is no voter fraud. It's because it would put them in a bad light. So they make it sound like it's impossible, which I don't think so. Crypto Boner. Football is rigged like these damn markets. That I don't know. I don't watch football enough just to see whether it's a rigged game or not. De La Villa's here. Keisha Rhinestone, citing the Constitution. You have to be 35 years old to run for president. She's not going to be 35 in 2024. Okay. Taylor, yeah, she said Howard Schultz should have to work for it just like everyone else. Yeah, that's crazy. Bitcoin 4-year supermarket, says Jack. Yes, he grew up in it's an interesting background that Schultz has. He tried to portray himself as like some type of common sense Democrat that's lurched too far left, and they weren't having any of that. They're yelling at him, you shouldn't run, get out of here, billionaire, and so on. Work your way up. Well, there is a point to that, though, in politics. I think Kennedy was one of the first people, JFK, who we'll discuss tomorrow, who, it was similar to Obama. I'm trying to think who else. Even Trump just walked in and became president. But Obama and Kennedy both were like senators for a few years, a couple of years. They really hadn't been anything before that. And then, boom, they ran for president. So, in today's world, Schultz could step up, Bloomberg, billionaire people, and not having gone through the party, could become president. But as Taylor points out, he did work his way up from low on the totem pole. That is true. Yeah, editor, I saw Barron Trump will be playing football. Could hasten NFL demise. What's interesting about that became like the headline story that Trump wouldn't want his kid to play football. Now, who cares? I mean, he was talking about Venezuela. He was talking about the shutdown, and they choose to report on whether he'd let Barron Trump play football. CBS is offering the game on the web for free. Oh, thanks, Tom. Maybe I'll just quickly end this live stream and head on over. I don't think so. But thank you for letting me and The Smaulgld game changers know that. Chrono Trigger fan, welcome back. JR Innovations still have ample free time on your hands, I take it. I want to hear how Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. He's all over. Anywhere I have, he was on the Kennedy Financial saying, my reputation is going to be damaged when Bitcoin goes down. I don't know where he gets that from. Because I don't know. I think he's saying I have a crypto mindset. I don't know what a crypto mindset is. I report on stuff. All right. But that's his shtick, so to speak. JR Innovations. Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme. Yeah, I saw where Wyoming just passed a bill recognizing Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as money. I guess they're recognizing Ponzi schemes now as money. All right. Let's see what else we got. Ann Holloman finally showed up, or at least she's showing up in the comments. And Tom, and here I am, LOL. Yes, indeed. Oh, Ann is at a bar watching the Super Bowl. All right. Tossing Molotovs. The funny thing about watching this game, it's a dumpster fire, though I could just watch baseball players. I could watch just baseball players, playoffs, and get something out of it. Yeah, I'd rather watch the World Series than this. All right. Oh, JR Innovation. Use the swear words. Your comment doesn't show up. But, by the way, he's not swearing at me. We're buddies. He's swearing at AOC. But it doesn't show up. Okay. Andrew. Ann is watching. Yes, indeed. Commercials suck so far, she says. Yeah, and that's the other thing. If you're that interested in watching commercials, you know tomorrow. I think you can even see them now. There's YouTubes of them all over the place. Yeah, and you can bet on political ads, says Taylor Collins. They're not even political. They're just social engineering. I find it funny that the music industry is still fighting about Kaepernick, says Taylor Collins, and kneeling for the anthem and boycott the NFL. Yeah, I think Rihanna didn't appear tonight. I don't know if she was asked, but a lot of people, I think Katie Schumer, whatever her name is, she wasn't going to go. They're boycotting the NFL too. It's weird. Small, can you talk about the realization of silver suppression? Jack, I don't know what you mean by the realization of silver suppression. You mean the reality of it or how it's done? Here's J Innovation with a new comment. Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme, no different than what Bernie Madoff was selling. Wow. Hope we can get that comment in again before the night's out. Let's see what else we got. Rob. Who's Rob? Wait, is Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme? I got a weird look from an XO worker after I told him I didn't plan on watching the Super Bowl and I don't own a television. Well, as they say, good for you. Andrew. Oh, CTE. Oh, you're talking about, yes, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. That is it's like getting hit in the head. Even with a helmet on, you get a concussion. And it makes you get personality changes, behavioral changes, including aggression and depression. And I guess that's one reason why Trump probably doesn't want Barron playing. The other thing is, I mean, getting hit in the head, no matter who you are, it's not going to be good for you. But the players are so much bigger now than they were 50, 100 years ago. Back then, they used to have like the leather thing on their head, hardly a helmet at all. But now they butt heads, and they're both, 280 pounds each. Yes, Keisha says the 70% tax rate is a marginal tax rate that only kicks in above at 10 million. Only income above 10 million rate will be taxed. Well, it depends on where they want to place the 70% tax rate. Yes, and then you do have that. It steps up. So it's not like the first 50,000, first 25,000 are taxed at 70%. It's an amount after wherever they set it. But still, wherever you put it, it ends up being you're working for the government on your amount after whatever the threshold. So, Luke Jones says, Lions 27, Seahawks 24. Now, I'm really not figuring this out. I think the Lions must be... I thought the Rams were playing. I don't know anything. That shows you that I'm not kidding here. When I put as the game tonight, I didn't even know about it. I thought the Rams are playing. But I also probably think that the Rams are still in The Raiders are still in. Where are the Raiders? It is the Los Angeles Rams, yes, versus the Patriots. The Raiders, they were Oakland Raiders. That's where they were. There you go. See, I really don't know football anymore. And I know they're not in Oakland. Okay. The Lions are in the Super Bowl. Wow, I thought they sucked for the last 20. Okay. I almost put that one by me. Nomadic Diesel. Haven't followed football in decades. Same for me. Miser making a good point here. Why do people support higher taxes at all when government basically just burns it in with no frugality at all, with no accountability as we are held in the private sector how to say our tax dollars spent? I really don't understand it either. There's two reasons for taxes. One is it makes people who aren't rich, when I say rich, anyone who makes more than them is rich, they want them to pay. That's just, they don't care what it is. There's other people who actually believe that the money helps, that somehow it gets spent wisely. When they're complaining about all the federal workers who aren't getting paid, no one is asking, and I don't even know, what are they doing? What do federal workers do when you work for the Department of the Interior, the Department of Education? You're not teaching anyone, so what exactly are you doing? And that's not to denigrate anyone's labor. It's just that was created. The Department of Education was created in 1979 when education is held to be a state function. So I'm not sure why people even work at the Department of Education. And if it went away tomorrow, I would have to think it wouldn't make difference to anybody. I'm not saying that all government workers are doing something that isn't necessary, but many of them probably are. And they get paid really good for it too. They get paid the decent salary, and I believe they get pensions. And this is the first time they've missed a paycheck. And not only it may be the first time they missed a paycheck, but they're going to get it back, or they already have gotten paid back. I've worked a job. You get fired, you're done. Maybe you get unemployment insurance. You don't get your salary, and then that's it. And you don't get a pension. You're finished. You could work at a company 20, 30 years. You don't get a pension. JR Innovation. Anyone watch the Bitcoin Ponzi scheme earlier today? No, we missed that one. TRP, Mixer, because people are stupid and don't care how the government spends our money, especially when they're getting handouts. Well, what's interesting, the best thing is you look at Friedman made a very good point about how money is spent. He says when you spend your own money on yourself, that is where you spend it in the most judicious manner. When you spend your own money on someone else, meaning like you're buying a gift, you do a pretty good job too, because it is your money. But since you're not going to be the ultimate consumer of that product that you buy as a gift, you may be a little less concerned about the quality. Now, when you spend somebody else's money on yourself, like on an expense account, you look at the menu and you're thinking, should I have the steak or the salad? And you say, I'll have the steak and the salad. And that's generally how that works. You're less interested in, you want the quality because you're going to get the food yourself, but you're less concerned about the price of it. But when you spend, as he says, somebody else's money on somebody else, well, then you have no skin in the game whatsoever. And that's how he explains public education. You're spending somebody else's money, tax money, on someone else's kids, and there's not the same oversight. And that's how you can just hire more people at the federal government, and they just get more money, and there's no accountability, really. And it's not even because people are bad people. That's just human nature. It's what you're going to do. You have a budget, you spend it. Hire more people? All right, we hire more people. No one's telling them they don't need more people in those departments. Why not print your way to the future? Well, that's the other thing. What QE really, I think, opened a lot of people's eyes to is, why do they need taxes? They just print the money. They handed it out to the banks. Why not hand it out to the people? And so that people don't have to work anymore. JR Innovations. I'm going to have to stop reading his comments. Even the SEC approved of Madoff's years before he was finally shut down. No, they didn't. They didn't approve of Madoff. They did not approve of shares in his company. They did not say, let's arrange trading in Madoff shares. Madoff was a private, it was not a listed company that was a Ponzi scheme. It was a private thing, and they weren't aware of what was going on. Whereas when states and when New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ and the CME group authorized Bitcoin trading, they've already looked at it. It is not a Ponzi scheme. All right. But I know you're obsessed with it, so feel free. Whenever you see Smaulgld online, make sure you make it sound like Smaulgld is Bitcoin. And when the price of Bitcoin goes down, then Smaulgld goes down. Yes, his reputation is at stake. It's tied to the hip with Bitcoin. Unbelievable. You're still here with this. There we go. JRL Innovations. Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme. Why Ming accepting Bitcoin is really a stupid move. Some people will pay their taxes with it now, and the price will continue to decline, so the state will end up losing money. JR Innovations, again, ignorant as to how it works. The state doesn't take the Bitcoin. I've explained this. I don't think you listen. The way Ohio is accepting Bitcoin for, and any merchant generally accepting Bitcoin for payment, and many do, many bullion dealers do, they don't take the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is sent through a payment processor. It gets converted into fiat. You don't want to see it. You want to insist. See, what you've done is you've learned enough to know what your position, what you want your position to be is. Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme, and I'm going to go around and tell everybody that Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme, and it is going to collapse. And Lewis is also Mr. Bitcoin, and he is going to collapse too. Unbelievable. All right, we're not going to talk about Bitcoin anymore. JR Innovation. Okay. Bitcoin. He wants to talk about it's Super Bowl. Don't you have, isn't there a game you can go watch right now? You can go watch the Super Bowl. Maybe there'll be a Bitcoin commercial there. All right. Let's see what else we got here tonight, and then we'll get off. Keisha, the vast majority of federal workers work in airports. Well, now there's an issue there too. Airports, federal law enforcement, and post office, those are not high paid positions. That's correct. Now, the post office is mandated, so you can see why they have to work. Airports, not necessarily. The airports, it's interesting. They put the TSA in there. There are arguments that the air traffic controllers and the security can be handled by the airports. But that's how it is. Federal law enforcement, yes, if you do have FBI or TSA, right, and border control, then those are federal employees. But there are other federal employees. I'm talking about the ones that work in the alphabet soup agencies. I don't know what they do, and maybe they do something very important. I don't know. Let's see. None of you or Lewis can explain to me why Bitcoin crashed 80% in a year. Can you imagine if a stock crashed like that? No, JR Innovation, I can't explain why it went from $2 to $100 and then back to $30. And then it went from $30 to $1,000 and then back to $150. I can't explain, but just because something goes up and down doesn't mean it's a Ponzi scheme. It doesn't mean that if I cover it, that somehow I'm attached to it with my crypto mindset. If the price goes up or down, it's got nothing to do with me or my reputation. But you insist on coming on the channel and trashing Bitcoin because it's a Ponzi scheme. First of all, it's worth $3,300. That's unbelievable for something that's worthless to be worth $3,300. Bitcoin is traded on the CME now, says Miser. I'm not a big fan of it, but like stocks, there'll be supply and demand at different price levels, price actions, period. And that's right. I'm not a big... I say this, so I don't even know why he gets, like, I'm enamored with Bitcoin. I'm not a big fan of it, but I always say that it's not up to me to determine value. Value is determined by markets, and markets have given Bitcoin value. Whether I like it or not, it's not going to change anything. And no matter how many times JR Innovations goes on to YouTube and writes Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme, isn't going to change one thing. But that is his shtick. Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme. Lewis's reputation is going down when Bitcoin goes down. Yeah, so the whole world really cares about my reputation in relation to Bitcoin. because I'm out there, high profile, pitching Bitcoin left and right. All right, so it's halftime. People are rolling in. Yeah, you can feel it. Yes, Andrew, at JR Innovations, you conveniently leave out the run-up, but call out an 80% drop. Yeah, with his luck, there'll be a Bitcoin commercial on the Super Bowl. Can't escape it. Yeah, there are people, they think because you cover Bitcoin. The guy with another silver channel saying, I lost my integrity because I left the church of silver. I don't understand that one. Because I discuss Bitcoin, I've lost my integrity. Yes. Warning people about the evil of Bitcoin is more important than watching Super Bowl, Lewis. JR Innovate, get yourself a channel. Go online. Get yourself in a preacher outfit and talk about the evils of Bitcoin. Tell the world. Yes, it's very trollsome. I have to admit, it is very, very trollsome, JR Innovations. You coming on here every day and then attacking me as if I am Mr. Bitcoin and my reputation's at risk because I discuss Bitcoin with my, quote, crypto mindset. Oh, man. Very trollsome. Very, very trollsome. It's trollsome. Yes, Bitcoin is a game changer. I'm going to discuss Bitcoin for the rest of the night. Bitcoin is not a Ponzi scheme. All right, the Bitcoin Bowl. Ah, you've lost your cue, my mom. Here comes Joshua. Oh, JR Innovation, maybe saying something. Bitcoin mania happened because of Fed printing money and handing it to Wall Street. It's a malinvestment. You know, exactly, JR Innovation. Joshua, let's say I agree with you. What's your point? Kareem is here. I'm glad a halftime show live stream. Lance Deacon, don't forget Litecoin. Yes, Litecoin is also evil, says JR Innovation. It is a junior Ponzi scheme. OMG, Maroon 5 is boring. Oh, you're actually watching that there. All right, everyone. Well, if you're interested in watching a halftime show or going back to watch your football game, I'll let you do that. But remember, tomorrow we're going to do 2 shows. One, an update on the gold, silver, and crypto Ponzi scheme stories. And then, where I'll attach my entire life reputation to Bitcoin. And then, just for JRL Innovation's sake. And then, in the evening, we will do another history lesson on the silver Democrats and what happened with silver in the United States from 1934 onwards. So, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's see if we got any more comments here. Yeah, Joshua comes here a lot, doesn't he? All right. I want a game changer mug, says Andrew. Well, you can order one right now and you'll get it. And I've got to work down the inventory, Andrew, of the current stuff. I only have another box left. And then I'll issue the game changer mugs. But you have to start with the classic or the super classic mug before we get into... These are mini mintages, right? Okay. Headmaster Wartune. JR Innovation is your girlfriend a Ponzi scheme which is going up or down? All right, everyone. All right, good night, and we will see you. By the way, JR Innovations, if you want, there's a thing on the screen right now. Go out and get yourself a Bitcoin or Litecoin wallet. Buy some Bitcoin or Litecoin and send it to me. Send it to me. Yes, I really need more of it because it feeds into my reputation because I'm all about Bitcoin. That's it. That's the only thing I ever want to talk about from now on. And so please, I need more of it so I can talk about it. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. Yes, Jack, you got to get the whole collection. You got to get, by the way, when he's talking about the whole collection, I'll leave you guys with this. Remember, if you're a mug stacker, and some of you are, you've got more than just one Smaulgld mug, you start to really realize you can get 2 of the same kind. You can get a Smaulgld Classic and a Super Classic mug. We have people in the mug clubs that do that, and the Smug Mug clubs over on Patreon. Or you can also get the beer mugs. There's so many different Smaulgld mugs to get that you don't just stop at one. You really have to, I'll show you them. The Smaulgld mug shot's the most important thing. There's so many different mugs that you can get, and let's see. Well, here's all four. Not all four. There's more than four. These are the classic, super classic travel mug, as well as the espresso mug. Now remember, those of you who ordered the classic and super classic, you know you get a handwritten note from me. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you get a Smaulgld game-changing eraser, and they come in 2 days, priority mail. The other mugs you have to order from the Smaulgld store. Just go to smaulgld.com. You can figure it all out from there. But there's your four. Then we recently introduced beer mugs. The beer mugs are really good. The mug shots we got. Let me show you the beer mugs. The beer steins are really popular. Smaulgld beer steins. There's also a frosted Smaulgld mug. So many good things. They're a Ponzi scheme, actually. You can just keep buying them. It gives them value. You have to keep buying Smaulgld mugs. Here's a Smaulgld beer stein. This is the Ponzi scheme model. Comes in at about 5'8". You have to buy one, but it doesn't work unless you then go ahead and buy the frosted beer mug to keep the Ponzi scheme going. There's the Smaulgld Ponzi scheme 16-ounce frosted mug. And then there's another Ponzi scheme. If your dog is into Ponzi schemes, you can get him a Smaulgld Ponzi scheme bowl. There you go. And remember, always lead, and this is a Joshua Roberts creation, the Smaulgld Ponzi scheme mug life.